IIT JAM 2024, question number 36. Let x1 up to xn be a random sample of size n drawn from a probability distribution. It's not mentioned that it's a normal distribution. It's only mentioned a probability distribution. Point to be noted. Mean is mu, non-zero variance sigma square. So basically x1 to xn is a sample drawn from a probability distribution having mean mu and sigma square. Then which of the following is correct? Let's look at each of the options A, B, C, and D. Okay. So this is what the question is. Okay. So first, let's take a look at option A. The sample mean has a standard deviation of sigma by root n. Now, x bar, which is equal to 1 by n summation xi, is a random variable with mean mu and variance as sigma square by n. Hence, the standard deviation of the sample mean, which is also called the standard error, is sigma by root over n. So first one is correct. So it is a part of the answer. Okay. Now let's take a look at option B. Option B में the probability distribution of summation xi minus mu by sigma root n will tend to follow a standard normal distribution as n goes to infinity. Okay. Now, by the central limit theorem or the CLT, the distribution of the standardized sample mean is z is equal to x bar minus mu by sigma by root n, which tends to follow a normal distribution with mean 0 and 1 as n is going to infinity. This expression given in the question is just a rearrangement of this form. It's simply a rearrangement of this form. Okay. So for option B also it is correct. So A is correct. B is also correct. B is also correct. Now let's take a look at option C. N minus 1 s square by sigma square. It's given that n minus 1 s square by sigma square follows a chi-square distribution with n minus 1 degrees of freedom. Okay. There are a few assumptions that have to hold in order for this to hold. Number one is that the population distribution should be normal. Here, nothing is mentioned. Okay. Population distribution should be normal. The chi-square distribution result where n minus 1 s square by sigma square is following a chi-square with n minus 1 degrees of freedom, it will hold only if the sample is drawn from a normal distribution. Since nothing is mentioned, this relationship does not hold exactly. Although, if I have extremely large n, it may still be approximately a chi-square n minus 1 because of CLT, but generally this will not hold. Okay. Also, one more thing is that if the sample is drawn from any general distribution with a finite variance, then obviously the statistic may not follow. Okay. That's exactly why option C is incorrect. Now let's take a look at option D. The sample mean is always a consistent estimator of mu. Now, option D के बारे में बात करते हैं. An estimator is said to be consistent. तो consistency का definition क्या है? An estimate is said to be consistent if it converges in probability to the true parameter, if it is converging in probability to the true parameter as n, which is the sample size, increases. Okay. Now, x bar is a consistent estimator of mu. X bar is a consistent estimator of mu because of the fact that limit n tends to infinity, probability x bar minus mu less than epsilon is equal to 1 for any epsilon positive. Okay. So as n is increasing, x bar minus mu, the gap is getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. The gap has got so small that it is less than epsilon for any epsilon positive. That is, x and mu have fully merged with each other. And if this happens, x bar is said to be a consistent estimator of mu. So option D is correct. Okay. So what is the answer? The answer is A, B, and D. Okay. So what is the answer? A, B, D. Okay.
IIT JAM 2024, question number 37. Let M be this matrix. If the eigenvalues of M are beta and 4, then which of the following are correct? Okay. So we need to use these things. Sum of eigenvalues is equal to trace of the matrix. Okay. What is trace of the matrix? Trace of the matrix is the sum of the diagonal elements. Okay. So that means eigenvalues are beta and 4. So beta plus 4 is equal to alpha plus 1. So alpha is equal to beta plus 3. This is equation number 1. Okay. Then we also have product of eigenvalues is equal to determinant of the matrix. Okay. So product of eigenvalues is beta and 4. So that is going to be 4 beta and determinant of A. So here the matrix is M actually. Okay. So determinant of M is alpha minus 6. Alpha into 1 minus 1 into minus 6. Okay. This is equation number 2. So if we use 1 into, so we will have 4 beta equals to beta plus 3 minus 6. So we will have 3 beta equals to minus 3. So we will have beta equals to minus 1. If we use beta equals to minus 1 and 1, so alpha equals to minus 1 plus 3, which is 2. So now we explicitly have the value of alpha as 2 and beta as minus 1. So the first option, alpha plus beta, 2 plus minus 1 is 1. So this is correct. So we have to mark all the correct options. So the first one is correct. Now let us look at the second one. An eigenvector corresponding to beta is 2, 1 transpose. Okay, so let xy be the eigenvalue corresponding to beta. So xy is the eigenvalue corresponding to beta. What does it mean? It means m times xy is equal to beta times xy. This is the definition of eigenvector. So alpha m is what? Now alpha is 2. So 2 minus 6 minus 1, 1. Okay. And then xy equals to beta. Beta is minus 1 xy. So we will be getting 2x minus 6y is minus x. And minus x plus y equals to minus y. So this implies 3x equals to 6y. This implies x equals to 2y. This also implies x equals to 2y. So any eigenvector will be of this form. Because, so, yeah. So that means if we put y equals to 1, an eigenvector corresponding to this 2 is going to be 2, 1. So 2, 1 transpose is nothing but 2, 1. Okay. So this is also correct. Option number B is also correct. Okay. The rank of the matrix M is 2. So let us look at the determinant of M. So determinant of M was what? Alpha into 6, alpha minus 6. Okay. So what is alpha? 2 minus 6, which is minus 4, which is not equals to 0. So if a square matrix has a determinant non-zero, its rank is equal to the order of the matrix. So the rank of the matrix is indeed 2 because the determinant is coming out to be non-zero. Option number C is also correct. Then option number 4. So let's look at option number 4. The matrix M square plus M is invertible. So we got alpha equals to 2, beta equals to minus 1. So M square would be 2 minus 6 minus 1, 1. 2 minus 6 minus 1, 1. So let us calculate the product carefully. 2 times 2, 4. And minus 6 times minus 1. So which is 4 plus 6, 10. 2, this is minus 12 minus 6. So minus 18. Minus 2, minus 1, minus 3. 6 plus 1, that's going to be 7. So M square plus M would be 10 minus 18 minus 3, 7 plus M. So that is going to be 2 minus 6 minus 1, 1. Okay, so that's going to be 12 minus 24 minus 4 and 8. Okay, so if we calculate determinant of M square plus M, that is going to be 12 times 8, which is 96, minus 4 times minus 24, which is 96, which is 0. So as determinant of this is not equals to 0, is equal to 0. So M square plus M is not invertible. An invertible matrix is the one whose determinant is going to be non-zero. If the determinant is 0, it is not going to be invertible. So option number D is incorrect. So the correct options are A, B, C. Let f from R2 to R be a function defined as this. Then which of the following are correct? Limit x tending x comma y tending to 0, 0, fxy equals to 0. Okay. So this is the first statement. Let us see what happens to this statement. This is a function in two variables. Okay. So when we have a function in two variables, so basically we are looking at this point 0, comma 0. So what we mean by the limit to exist at this point is that if we take any curve passing through 0, 0, and if we calculate the limit, that limit must have the same value. For example, in case of one dimension, we used to approach a point from the left hand side and the right hand side. But if we have a function of two variables, we are going to approach the point under consideration from all the possible sides, from all the possible curves. Okay. So if the value of the limit comes out to be the same, then we say that this limit exists. So let's see. So let us consider a family of functions or family of curve y equals to mx square, where m is a constant. It can take any value, 1, 2, 3, 0, etc., etc. Now this family of curve, we can see that when we put x equals to 0, y equals to 0, so this family of curve is passing through origin. Okay, so this function now for this family of curves takes this form. It depends on one variable now, and it will become mx4 divided by x4, 1 plus m square. Okay. So the limit xy tending to 0, 0 reduces to limit x tending to 0 fx. And there is no x here now. So it is actually equal to m upon 1 plus m square. Now notice that as the value of m changes, the value of this limit changes. Therefore, this limit cannot exist. Okay. So this statement is wrong. Now, obviously, what do you mean by continuity of a function at point? A function is said to be continuous at a particular point when the limit at that point equals the function value at that point. And therefore, this statement is correct. fxy is not continuous at 0, 0. So we have eliminated option A and option C is correct. Let us look at other options now. Okay. Now, this is the partial derivative of f with respect to x at 0, 0. Now, okay, so what we do, the partial derivative, the general definition of a partial derivative is like this. Limit h tending to 0, f of 0 plus h 0 minus f00 divided by h. Because what we are doing is that we are keeping y constant. So we will not be altering y here. We will just be altering x. We will just be observing what happens to the partial derivative when we introduce a small change in the value of x. Okay. So this will become limit h tending to 0, f of h comma 0 divided by h. Now f of 0, 0 is 0. Okay. So now f of h comma 0, h comma 0 means my y value is 0. So the y value is 0, which means is that this it becomes 0 by h. So the partial derivative at 0, 0 is actually 0. So option B is correct. Option C is already correct. Now both fx and fy do not exist at 0, 0. This is an incorrect statement because we have already seen that fx at 0, 0 is equal to 0. So option B and C are correct.
IIT JAM 2024 question number 39. Which of the following are not correct? So आपको incorrect answer को identify करना है. So let's take a look at option number A. Option number A है, under the Reserve Bank of India Act 1938, every scheduled bank has to keep certain minimum cash reserves by the RBI. अब ये statement तो correct है, but ये act का year is incorrect. It should be 1934 instead of 1938. Okay. So all the scheduled banks are required to maintain a CRR with the RBI according to the Act of 1934, not 38. So A is incorrect. A को हम लोग incorrect mark करेंगे. तो ये तो definitely one of the answers है. यहाँ पर multiple choice क्वेश्चन है, सिलेक्ट के क्वेश्चंस है, तो मल्टीपल आंसर्स कैन बी करेक्ट. सो वी हैव टू टेक अ लुक एट बी सी एंड डी एज वेल. तो बी को देखते हैं. बी इज सेइंग सीआरआर इज द स्टैट्यूटरी रिजर्व रिक्वायरमेंट टू बी केप्ट बाय एवरी शेड्यूल्ड बैंक विद द आरबीआई. दिस इज एब्सोल्युटली करेक्ट. CRR is a statutory reserve that the banks must maintain with the RBI. C is saying a high SLR increases the capacity of commercial banks to grant loans and advances. This is incorrect. A higher statutory liquidity ratio, that is SLR, reduces the capacity of banks to lend because it locks up more of the resources in approved securities or cash. Okay. So high SLR would actually lead to less, granting of loans and advances. Option D, a high SLR can be considered as a tax on the banking system. This is correct. A high SLR limits the funds available for lending and thus imposes an indirect cost which is akin to a tax. So A and C are incorrect, B and D are correct. So let's mark the answers, which is A and C. This is JAM 2024, question number 40. According to Niti Aayog, National Multi-Dimensional Poverty Index, a Progress Review 2023, which of the following is correct? So let's take a look at each of the options individually. So option A, the rural area in India have experienced a faster decline than the urban areas. Yes, definitely. But the poverty number, that's the poverty from 35.59% in 2015-16 to 21.28% in 2019-2021, this percentages are incorrect. It's about 28 to 29%, and it is different in 2019 to 2021 as well. So the percentage numbers are incorrect, but definitely the rural areas have actually seen a faster, decline in the multidimensional poverty index, which basically comprises of three factors. So here the
percentages are incorrect, and hence I cannot mark this as the correct answer. Let's take a look at D. The incidence of poverty in the urban areas has increased from 5.27 to 8.65 is incorrect. The incidence of poverty in the urban areas has also decreased. Okay, it has not increased. C, a decline in India's multi-dimensional poverty index in 2019-21 is due to an improvement in all the 12 indicators. This is correct. The reduction in the poverty levels is attributed to improvements across all the indicators used in the index. B, at the national level, there is a decline in the intensity of poverty between 2015-16 to 2019-21. This is also correct. The report highlights a reduction in the poverty intensity at the national level during this entire time. Okay, so the correct answers here are C and D only. A and B are not correct. A, the numbers, the percentages are incorrect. And B, in the urban areas also, the multi-dimensional poverty has actually gone down, not increased. So A and B are incorrect, C and D are correct. Mark your answer.